And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to talk about how the car dealers have screwed themselves even more by hoarding cars for so long, hoping to get prices they will never get. The cars will sit there forever, and they have sat there forever. And right now, you can search and find, whether it's a Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, or Ram, you can find brand spanking new delivery mile 2022 cars on the lots still sitting there. And when you go to these lots, they say, and it's happened to me a few times while I'm doing my research, the salesperson will say, so, you know, yeah, we want a lot more for the 2023 because it's the last call, and we got a special edition, or whatever the hell it is, or these are very sought out. They'll give you the whole spiel on the 2023s, and the salesman will come back and say, what about a 2022? Would you be interested in a 2022? Because I got a brand new 2022 Scat Pack wide body if you want to save a little bit of money. And I always ask, how much am I going to save? Well, it's a few thousand cheaper. And I always chuckle because a few thousand cheaper isn't that big of a deal when you think about the one thing that many people don't think about and don't even know, evidenced by the amount of messages I've gotten from people asking me for advice on whether they should buy a 2022 brand new standing inventory RT, for example, or if they should hold out and keep fighting for a 2023 and maybe try to negotiate a better deal on a 23, or should they just buy an older used car and save a bunch of money? It's a pretty normal question I get. So I figured I would answer this question because it's a little more complicated than just saying, hey man, get the newest thing you can get for the best deal, because that's always the greatest idea. Get the best deal you can on the newest thing you can. But understanding that the 2023s sometimes will be challenging to get at the lower prices, that it may be worth looking at a 2022 or even a 2021 because the dealers are still being stupid on some of the 2023s. What should you do? Should you buy a 23 or take that 2022 for a few thousand less and save some money? Well, let me tell you a couple reasons why they will push you to that 2022. One, the car's been sitting there forever. Two, it's going to be harder for them to sell. And here's the reason why. Is most banks, if not all banks, but I know my experience in buying, 50 plus cars in my lifetime, and quite a few just the last 5 years, is that some banks, especially credit unions, and my credit union, Navy Federal, will give you a better interest rate and a better term, or better term options on a new car versus a used car. But you have to always ask your bank, what do you define as being a new car? And my bank, Navy Federal Credit Union, along with others that I've used in the past, have their own parameters, but Navy Federal Credit Union has theirs where they define a new car as of right now we're sitting in July 2024, they consider a new car to be a car 2023 or newer with less than 30,000 miles on it. So if you have a 2023 car with 35,000 miles on it, good for you for driving that thing, but they're not going to consider it to be new. They're going to consider it to be used, which means it will fall into a different interest rate bracket, which can be anywhere from 0.75% to 1% higher interest rate on that used car. And they will not do terms, at least in Navy Federal, past, I think, 72 months or something. And new cars, they will do 84 months, 96 months, but the interest rate's going to be higher. Just know that it's not just like a little bit higher. It's like a couple percent higher when you start going in those longer terms. So really use your brain when it comes to how long you want to commit to a car. With that said, use your brain based on the likelihood that you aren't going to keep that car the entire time, no matter what loan you take. At least in my personal situations, in my entire life, I have never in my entire life kept a car through the term. I have never kept a car. It doesn't matter. If I did a 3-year loan, that sucker was gone in a year and a half. If I did a 5-year loan, it was gone in 2 years. I mean, I've never paid a loan to term. I've always, because I'm a car guy, I'm a car enthusiast. This is a car enthusiast channel, not a financial channel, but I try to give you some good financial advice. But I've never paid a loan to term. I will get the next best thing when it comes out, or I will trade it for something else, and I'll pay the difference, and I'll eat the loss and keep moving, because I don't believe that I'm going to be able to take my money with me when I die. I need enough to live right up until that finish line and leave a nice chunk for my daughter to be able to go blow on something that she wants to blow it on. And I'm good. Outside of that, I'm good. So I don't mind doing a longer term loan for a lower car payment. I never have, because I know I'm never going to keep that thing that long. And I have the money, and I always find the money to be able to get out from underneath that car. But I would advise you to take it if you're pushing yourself to the limit on your car payment and you're doing 96 months, because you're probably never going to be able to unravel yourself from that car. But let's go back and talk about the difference in these loans. Now let's just talk about what's a used car. Well, according to Navy Federal Credit Union, a used car is a car that is, and they're saying 2022 or older and or 30,000 miles or more. So that means anything 2022 and older, even if it's a brand new car with 0 miles on it, Navy Federal, according to their website, is going to consider that to be a used car. So if a dealer's been sitting on a car for a year, over a year with a 2022, late delivery 2022s that showed up in 2023, doesn't matter, it's a 2022, that car is going to have a higher interest rate on it with most lenders that I've seen, and that's going to make it harder to finance. Doesn't matter how you cut it. People are definitely shaving $10, $15, $20 in the negotiations to get their payments to where they want them to go. And I can tell you, I've walked over $15 in car payment before, because you go in there, want an $800 car payment, next thing you know, you're talking about $875, and you want it under $850, and you end up leaving $850. You went in there hoping $800. So believe me, it makes a difference, that percent in that interest rate change, by switching to a 2022. So when people ask me, what should I do? Should I buy this 2022? They're offering it to me for $1,500 or $2,000 less. Well, I'll give you a couple examples just to give some clarity on the reason why you're probably better off fighting for the new one at a lower amount. So negotiate harder with them, make sure there's no add-ons, make sure there's no markups, and push them down and stand firm. No, I want the newest car. I want to have the full-blown longest warranty, which you'll have on a 22 if it just gets registered now. But I want to make sure I've got the newest thing, and I want it for the same price you're offering me that 2022. But Brad, wouldn't they negotiate the 2022 down if they're offering it for $2,000 less? If they'd come down $2,000 less on the new car, wouldn't they come down another $2,000 on the used? Maybe, but I'll tell you right now, either way, if the spread is $1,500 to $2,000, based on the interest rate difference, on the same exact term of 60 months, you're looking at a payment that's almost identical, and you're paying less interest on the newer car, meaning you're probably anywhere from, let's say, $2,000 to $2,500 better off if you were to take the loan to term. But let me share with you some examples of reasons why. So, a $50,000 car, I'm using it as an example, for 60 months at 4.49% interest. That's the just published interest rate, assuming everything's great on your credit. So a $50,000 car for 60 months, 4.49% interest. It's a brand new car. I just put 7% sales tax and $1,000 for registration. Obviously, you've got to fight over admin fees, all the other stuff. Never pay that stuff. I mean, be willing to walk out of the dealership. But you're looking at a payment on this $50,000 car with $5,000 down of $838.73. The interest you're going to pay on that, if you were to keep that to term, the full 60 months, is $5,323. Now let's talk about a same exact car, but now used. Same exact price. $50,000, 60 months at 5.49%. You're looking at a payment of $859. So if you're looking at a payment of $838, and the same exact car as a used car is going to be $859. It's going to be more. I just give that as an example so you can see that new versus used is going to give you a different payment and a different interest rate no matter how you cut it. But the interest difference is $6,560 or $1,237 more. So that's basically what you're going to end up paying. Now, assuming that the used car is a couple $1,000s less, keep in mind you're paying $1,237 more in interest on that used car. Even if the price difference was $2,000, you're basically still only, saving about $700-800. But now let's talk about what you can get for on a new car at that interest rate. So basically what I'm saying here is you could buy about a $1,500 more car if it's new versus used. at this price range. So at $51,500 for 60 months on the new car interest rate at 4.49, you're looking at $866 a month versus the used car at what, $859. So like $6 more a month, you're looking at getting a $1,500 more car, and the interest is $5,500. It's still less than the used car at $6,500. So you can do the math on this and go, well, I'm $1,000. Actually, just say you're $1,500 more of a car, $1,000 less of interest, and $6 for only $6 more a month. That's buying a new car for $1,500 more. So remember, the price difference needs to be a lot more for you to buy what's going to be considered to be a used car. Now, what happens if you use the dealership's financing? The dealership's not going to tell you any of this, and they're going to keep pushing you towards the car they want you to buy. They're going to make the most money on. And that's probably that 2022, because they're going to be able to nail somebody on the 2023 for some $400 nitro fill. All right, so remember, the interest rate was 5.5 instead of 4.5 on a used car, and you can only go 60 months. Now, you can go up to 72 months with Navy Federal on used, but the rate jumps up a bunch. But here's how the math looks and what you could buy on a new car if you went to 72 months. If you're just focused on car payment, I'm not advocating getting yourself in trouble with a long car loan, but 72 months, you get your dream car, so you don't have to change cars again and take that depreciation and take that loss because you wanted to keep moving up. So let's say you're looking at an RT, you go, should I get a Scat Pack? Well, if you're going to be getting an RT and then spend the next 4 or 5 years stressing and being upset that you want to get the Scat Pack, you're better off getting the Scat Pack now and saving yourself 3 years from now taking a loss on your RT to buy that Scat Pack, having to roll negative in or come up with that cash. Just buy your Scat Pack now for the same exact payment almost that you would pay for that RT on a new car, because the interest rate with Navy Fed goes, instead of 4.49 to 4.79 at 72 months. And that takes you to being able to purchase for almost the same exact payment, $864. So right in there, that same payment, that takes you to being able to buy now a $59,000 car. A $59,000 car versus a $50,000 car for almost the same exact payment. Same down payment of $5,000, and you now are buying your Scat Pack. You're now in your Scat Pack for the same exact payment because it's brand new. Now, if you buy a 2022 Scat Pack, you're not going to get that interest rate. You're going to get a higher interest rate again. I put those on the screen. You can see you're going to be at a higher interest rate. It's going to blow you out based on your payment. Yes, you're going to pay more interest because you're doing a longer term. But again, if you don't keep that loan to term, let's say 3 years from now you want the new thing, or 4 years from now you want the new thing, then you're not going to take this thing to term. You're never going to pay all that interest. But remember, you can always pay more every month. You can always pay another $100 a month while you have that money to get that interest knocked down, to make sure that you don't ever pay that. You're not stuck in abiding by their terms, other than having to make that minimum payment every month. But I will tell you, on most of my cars, I'm always trying to chunk down more just to get ahead of the depreciation so that I can keep moving through cars for this channel. Make sense? But now here's the magic with the new cars, with some credit unions for sure. Navy Federal, which is what I do love about them, because they'll make it really easy for me to get cars and not pay massive amounts of money every single month and move them through the channel. And yes, in the past I was able to get out of them pretty easily without losing money, but now it's a little bit harder, so you won't see me moving through as many cars as I did just this last 3 or 4 years. But check this out, on a brand new car, on their longest term of 96 months, if you have decent credit, doesn't be perfect, it's 7.59% interest, $59,000 car, $5,000 down, you're looking at $752 a month versus $860. So $100 less a month than what you're paying for that car. Now, if I go back to our original new car scenario. So our new car scenario at $838, you're a brand new $50,000 car with $5,000 down. Yet here we are with a brand new $60,000 car, $59,000 car, and you're almost $100 less on payment. If you want your dream car, you have good credit, you have good discipline, you want to pay the interest, which the interest is going to go to the moon. It's going to double. So just understand, you're going to pay double in interest, which is why they are cool doing these loans, because they raise the interest rate, and you're looking at going from paying $9,000 in interest to paying $18,000 in interest. So I will tell you, only do this if your intention is to pay extra every month and not keep it to term. So let's say you want to go 3 years from now or 4 years from now and then get another car. Plan to pay extra every single month to pay that loan down so that you're not buried in that car, and you'll never pay that $18,000 in interest as long as you are disciplined with that loan. Now, between just us two here, us almost 80,000 people, and probably only 6,000 of you will watch this or something, but between us, I've done most of my loans at this 96-month thing. I always just ink it and go. My demon, ink it and go, because I'm not keeping that sucker that long. For me, it's about getting a low payment, because I'm getting in and I'm getting out. As soon as I get in a car, I start planning my exit. I hate to say it, it's an obsession, an issue I have, but between this channel and wanting to be able to bring new stuff to you guys, I keep moving through cars. It just is what it is. It's something, I hate to call it a hobby. It's an expensive hobby, but it's something I've done forever. So I'll get in, I'll put enough money down, and then I'll look at how I am on that car financially, and about the time I can get out of it without it creaming me, and if I can get the other new car at a good enough price, boom, I move out of it. So I'm never keeping this thing 96 months. I'm looking at it like this. If I make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month on YouTube, which is about what I'm making, and I'm just being straight with you all, I'm looking at whatever the car payment is, an expense against my business. Make sense? So if I'm paying $750, I have a profit every single month. At the end of whenever I decide to get rid of that car, if it costs me $3,000 to get out of it, I take $3,000 right out of the business checking account for my OC Motivator company, and I will make that an expense against the business again, and I still end up hopefully profitable at the end of every single year. So my situation's very different. I look at the 96 months as a simple tool for me to be able to leverage myself into these cars to make me make more money using them as expenses. Your situation may be different, but this is something I would just recommend you use cautiously, because you can get trapped in a car for quite a long time. Now, if you're like the type of person where the last car you owned was 10 years, the last car you owned before that was 10 years, then get the car you're going to love. And you know what? You're going to pay them 18 grand in interest. Who gives a damn? In the end, you will have the car you love. You can't take the money with you, and you don't have the stupid payment that you're going to end up with a repo on your credit someday. Make yourself comfortable. Have enough money to eat. Let the bank make their interest on the money. Who cares? I appreciate them loaning it to us, and then keep on moving forward. At least that's the way I think of it. Maybe I'm nuts. So with that, everybody, hope this was informative. Stay firm, everybody. Be willing to walk. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.